If you're someone who knows they're meant for more, but you're stuck in between the gap of knowing you're meant for more, but not knowing what that more is yet, I want to put you on to some of the most powerful books I've read in my life that have helped me uncover that more. And these are books that I know I will never stop thinking about because they have effectively changed the way I live my life forever. There are a few reasons why I love self-help books so much. The first is I'm a self-help author myself. I have published 2 books. The first book I published is called You Deserve This Shit. And this is a book about getting unstuck, finding your path, and becoming the best version of yourself. It simplifies the process of self-discovery and it will help you live a life that feels true to yourself. The second book I published, and this is one I published pretty recently, is Pursuit of Purpose. This shares a proven system to find your purpose and live with confidence, direction, and meaning. This book is the documentation of the 4 exact steps and many different exercises I used in my own life to find my purpose, and so I know this one works really well. The other reason why I love self-help books is because back in college, I picked up The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and it was the first self-help book I read, and my entire worldview opened up. And I started to realize that books hold the secrets of the world. I just think it is so fascinating that we can look into someone's perspective and someone's philosophy for like 10 or 15 bucks and get so much value from the things they've shared. So the first book I want to talk about is The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer. The Surrender Experiment was first recommended to me in 2016 when I was on the back end of a solo backpacking trip around Europe. And it was the first time in my life where I was feeling really free-spirited and really open-minded. And so this came into my life at the perfect time. And for someone like myself who is like half conscious and spiritual and half logical, this book was the perfect invitation for me to loosen up a little bit and take the pressure off. I tend to overthink things. I tend to try to plan really hard. And this book really helped me take a step back and let life unfold in a little bit more of a beautiful way. You know, I think it's really common to look at life and think we need to control it or grip it really hard or try to force it into what we want it to become or what we think we want it to become. But the Surrender Experiment offers this perspective that we can surrender a little bit more. We can take the pressure off, we can let go, and we can just say yes to life and the things that are happening around us. And when we do that, our life tends to unfold in ways that, 1, we may have not imagined or anticipated, but 2, it unfolds in how it's meant to happen because we are getting out of the way and we're letting the universe, spirit, God take control and make our life exactly what it's meant to become. This book specifically documents Michael A. Singer's own journey with starting to live through a more surrendering way. And it's just a really beautiful narrative because you can see how surrendering played out in his life and also what it led him to do both in life and business, and how much richer and more meaningful his life became once he started to live through this idea of surrendering instead of holding on and trying to resist where life wanted him to go naturally. I would say if you want life to feel a lot easier, The Surrender Experiment is a really powerful place to start, and that is why I believe it's a book I will never stop thinking about. The second book I want to talk about is The Untethered Soul, which is yet another book from Michael A. Singer. And the reason why I want to talk about this one directly after The Surrender Experiment is because The Untethered Soul puts the Surrender Experiment into a more actionable plan on how you can live this way in your own life. And so when I recommend these books to people, they're always the first 2 books I recommend when people say, you got a book I could read? I'm like, yeah, I got 2. Surrender Experiment, The Untethered Soul, in that order. And the reason why I believe it's best in that order is because the Surrender Experiment is going to teach you the philosophy. It's going to open your mind to living life in a different way. And then The Untethered Soul is going to help you put it into motion. It's going to help you take action on that philosophy. And by following what The Untethered Soul is going to invite you to do, you're just going to get to a place in your life where you can live beyond your own limitations and you can experience more than you knew was out there. And so if you are that person who knows that there's more to life, but you don't know maybe what that more is quite yet. Following the process and philosophy of the untethered soul is going to help you inch closer to revealing what that more is. And that's what I experienced in my life. I just found after reading the surrender experiment and then reading the untethered soul and putting it into motion, my life just started to unfold with a lot more ease. And still to this day, anytime I'm struggling with something working out or something taking longer than I anticipated, I just go back to these two philosophies and I ask myself, where am I tethering myself? And how can I surrender to what's happening around me to untether my soul and end up in the place that I belong and also in the right timing as well? By the way, if you want more book recommendations outside the ones I'm talking about in this video, I created a list of all my top book recommendations to help you not only find a book that you love, but evolve your life into something that you love. And so I put a link down in the description where you can grab those all for free. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Money and the Law of Attraction by Jerry and Esther Hicks. This book has become the book that I will read or listen to when I just need to reset my frequency so I can attract more abundance, more wealth, better health, more miracles into my life. I personally prefer it on audio because it feels like a transmission from spirit, and it feels like I'm just downloading this really deep, rich information that immediately changes my vibration and puts me in a much more elevated space. So I will read this book almost as if it's a prescription to tune my frequency to the things that I want to attract. And so if you're somewhere in your life right now where there's a reality you're trying to manifest, or there's a job that you want to get, or there's a relationship you want to bring into your life, or you want to improve your health, this book will show you how you can use energetics to attract that thing into your life, not only a lot quicker, but a lot easier too. I have honestly probably listened to this book 4 or 5 times on audio just because the way it makes me feel. Even if I'm not starting it from the top, if I'm having a kind of an off day or an off week and it feels like I need to show my frequency some TLC and give it some love, what I'll do is I'll just pick a random chapter and just listen to it, and immediately it changes my vibration and puts me in a way better headspace, and I notice the world around me starts to feel better because I'm walking through the world in this changed state, and it feels like I am changing my point of attraction. I fully believe that all of us are magnets, and we get to attract into our life different things. This means if your vibration is high, you're going to attract high vibrational things. And if your vibration is low, you're going to attract low vibrational things. And listening to Money and the Law of Attraction is one very, very simple way to raise your vibration, to increase your magnetism, and attract more high vibrational things into your life, making your experience a lot richer. The next book I want to talk about is Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. This is transparently a book that I am currently reading, but kid you not, 3 chapters in, I'm like, this is a book not only that I'm going to remember forever, but I'm going to reread forever. This is like the surrender experiment of this year for me. This book is all about how we can shape our self-image to match the reality that we want to experience. It is honestly the original behavior change and manifestation book. I fully believe the only reason Joe Dispenza's work is so widely known is because psycho-cybernetics exists. And one thing that I love about this book is, although the topic might sound dense, the way that he writes it is very, very understandable. One thing that I haven't loved about Joe Dispenza's work, like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, is it's very scientific, and I find it really hard to understand and implement into my life. The thing I love about psycho-cybernetics is it's very easy to understand, but the message and power of the message is still very deep. One thing that I've done with this book is every time I read a chapter, I stop and I journal and reflect on what I learned in that chapter and how it has worked out or played out in my life. I want to treat this book specifically kind of as a curriculum because I am currently trying to do more work on my self-concept and self-image. If you're at a place in your life right now where you see yourself as less than the people around you, or you don't feel worthy, or you feel like things aren't going the way that you want them to, possibly because of different limiting beliefs that you have. Psycho-cybernetics is not only going to help you rewire those things, but it's going to help you see yourself through a new lens. And you'll soon start to realize that the image you have of yourself is driving most of your life. And if you can take time to read Psycho-cybernetics and apply the teachings and philosophies into your life will look permanently different. The last book I want to talk about is The Courage to Be Disliked by Ichiro Kashimi. A year ago, I did my first solo offline retreat where I spent 3 days offline, disconnected from the outside world. And the main thing you do on this retreat is you bring one book to read the entire time and you write about the thoughts that it brings up. And I had been hearing a lot about The Courage to Be Disliked right around the time I was getting ready to go for my retreat. And I said, you know what? I feel like I have a fear of being disliked. This book sounds like it will be really good for me. In reading this book, I realized there was a lot of parts of myself that I wasn't accepting or honoring because I was afraid of how other people may think of me or how they may judge me. And I was holding myself back from exploring new things in my life because of other people's thoughts and opinions. And when I read this book, it rewired that entire aspect of my life. And it made me learn that true freedom is the ability to be okay with being disliked. Because if you're okay with being disliked, that means you're acting in your full authenticity and not changing who you are to please or satisfy other people. And that is something I really honestly needed help with at the time. And this book really helped me change and improve that part of my life. If you tend to be a people pleaser or you're living the life others expect of you, The Courage to Be Disliked will help you take the pen back to your life and start writing the story that you want to live and worry less about what other people are thinking and instead focus more on what you want for yourself. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I just love self-help books. I have just found that they're some of the most powerful work in the world. They pack a punch, they change your life, and I just think that's amazing. So if you have any questions about books or you're looking for specific book recommendations that address specific topics or things about life, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'm happy to share more book recommendations, or you can grab my free book recommendations in the description as well.